Right, this is the jury deliberation for each of you. I am going to actually read you the jury instructions just like you would get in real life. I'm going to paraphrase a few things and skip a few things and then tell you a few things that are different because of your situation. So there is one jury deliberation instruction sheet on each of your, or in each of your groups. I'm going to read this for you. State versus Richard Eugene Hickok and State versus Perry Edward Smith. The facts. On the night of November 15, 1959, Richard Eugene Hickok and Perry Edward Smith made their way to the farm of Herbert and Bonnie Clutter in rural Holcomb, Kansas, at which both Herbert and Bonnie were present, as well as their children, Nancy Clutter and Kenyon Clutter. With the original intent of robbing a safe presumed to be in the Clutter home, Hickok and Smith entered the home and proceeded to locate the safe. When they could not locate the safe, they awakened Herbert Clutter to ascertain the location of the safe. When he denied the existence of any safe, they began to awaken Bonnie, Nancy, and Kenyon in order to obtain further information and success in locating the presumed safe. During the more than 2 hours present in the home, Hickok and Smith tied each victim individually in separate locations and did unlawfully, feloniously, willfully, and with deliberation and premeditation, and while being engaged in the perpetration of a felony, kill and take the life of Herbert W. Clutter, Bonnie Clutter, Nancy Clutter, and finally Kenyon Clutter. Hickok and Smith then exited the premises and were finally located on January 2nd, 1960. The state has charged Mr. Hickok with murder in the first degree on 4 counts. The state has entered on behalf of the defendant a plea of not guilty. The state has charged Mr. Smith with murder in the first degree on 4 counts, and the state has entered on behalf of the defendant a plea of not guilty. So your instructions as jurors are as follows. Number 1, the trial information charges the defendants Hickok and Smith with the crime of murder in the first degree, 4 counts. 2, the trial information is the document that formally charges the defendant with the crime. It is merely the method by which the defendants are brought into court. It is not evidence. Number 3, the state has entered on behalf of the defendants a plea of not guilty. The pleas of not guilty are a complete denial of the charges and places the burden on the state to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Number 4, the defendants are presumed innocent and not guilty. The presumption of innocence requires you to put aside all suspicion which might arise from the arrest, charge, or the present situation of the defendants. The presumption of innocence remains with the defendant throughout the trial unless the evidence establishes guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Number 5, you must determine the defendant's guilt or innocence from the evidence and the law in these instructions. You must consider all the instructions together. Number 6, the duty of the jury is to determine if the defendants are guilty and not guilty. And here's where your situation, being in 2015, is different. It says, in the event of a guilty verdict, you have nothing to do with punishment. However, for your purposes, that's what you're deciding. Or who is guilty, who is innocent, what do they get for punishment? Number 7, nothing I have said or done during the trial, meaning the judge, was intended to give any opinion as to the facts, proof, or what the verdict should be. Number 8, the burden is on the state to prove the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is one that fairly and naturally arises from the evidence or lack of evidence produced by the state. If, after a full and fair consideration of all the evidence, you are firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt, then you have no reasonable doubt and you should find the defendant guilty. But if, after a full and fair consideration of all the evidence or lack of evidence produced by the state, you are not firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt, then you have a reasonable doubt and you should find the defendant not guilty. Number 9, if there is reasonable doubt as to any crime, the defendant shall only be convicted for the crime for which there is no reasonable doubt. Okay, number 10, you must base your verdict only upon the evidence in these instructions. And evidence is testimony in person or by deposition, or 2, exhibits received by the court. The following are not evidence in normal situations, but for you, they are evidence. Testimony that the judge told you to disregard, and we have that information. You have been given that in your story, what Dr. Jones would have said. Number 4, anything you saw or heard about this case outside the courtroom, including everything that you read. Okay, number 11, in deciding the facts, consider the evidence using your observations, common sense, and experience. You must try to reconcile any conflicts in the evidence. But if you cannot, you will accept the evidence you find more believable. And remember, these are real-life jury instructions. This is what, if you were on a case for murder, which you might be at one point in your life, hopefully not, but there have been murder cases in our area before. These are the instructions that you would be given. In deciding the facts, consider the evidence using your observations, common sense, and experience. In determining the facts, you may have to decide what testimony you believe. You may believe all, part, or none of any witness's testimony. There are many factors which you may consider in deciding what testimony to believe. For example, whether the testimony is reasonable and consistent with other evidence you believe, such as, think of the difference between what Perry originally said, what he said in the middle, and what he ended up saying at the end. Which do you believe? Whether a witness has made inconsistent statements, such as Perry. The witness's appearance, conduct, age, intelligence, memory, and knowledge of the facts. The witness's interest in the trial, their motive, candor, bias, and prejudice. You may take all of those things into consideration for what you believe is true. Number 12, in considering the evidence, you may make deductions and reach conclusions which reason and common sense lead you to make. You should not be concerned about whether the evidence is direct or circumstantial. Direct evidence is the testimony of one who claims actual knowledge of the fact, such as an eyewitness, which none of us have. Circumstantial evidence is proof of a claim of facts and circumstances indicating the defendants are either guilty or not guilty. The law makes no distinction between the weight you may give to either direct or circumstantial evidence. Okay, number 13, state must prove all of the following elements of murder in the first degree. And remember what Officer Simmons said about first degree murder. On or about the 15th day of November 1959, the defendants entered the home of Herbert and Bonnie Clutter safe and leaving no killing the 4 victims in the home. Number 2, the killing of the 4 victims was carried out with specific intent. If the state has proved all of the elements, the defendants are guilty of murder in the first degree. If the state has failed to prove any one of the elements, the defendants are not guilty of that charge. So concerning this last one, specific intent means not only being aware of doing an act and doing it voluntarily, but in addition, doing it with specific purpose in mind. Because determining the defendant's specific intent requires you to decide what he or she was thinking when an act was done, it is seldom capable of direct proof. Therefore, you should consider the facts and circumstances surrounding the act to determine the defendant's specific intent. You may, but are not required to conclude a person intends the natural result of his or her actions. 15. During the trial, you have been allowed to take notes, and that's what you have in front of you. You may take these with you to the jury room to use in your deliberation. Number 16, when you begin your deliberations, you should select a foreman or forewoman. So you will, after instructions are given, do that in each of your juries. He or she shall see that your deliberations are carried out in an orderly manner, that the issues are fully and freely discussed, and that every juror is given an opportunity to express their views. In order to return a verdict, and this is important, each juror must agree to it. Your verdict must be unanimous. It is your duty as jurors to consult with one another and reach an agreement, if you can do so without compromising your individual judgment. Each of you must decide the case for yourself, but do so only after an impartial consideration of the evidence with the other jurors. During the deliberations, do not hesitate to re-examine your view and change your opinion if convinced it is wrong. But do not change your opinion as to the weight or effect of the evidence just because it is the opinion of the other jurors, or for the mere purpose of returning a verdict because you want to determine. Remember, you are the judges of facts. Your sole duty is to find the truth and do justice. Okay, and you have a verdict form that you will use for each one of the suspects, those charged. When you've agreed upon a verdict and the foreman or forewoman has signed the verdict form, please notify the court attendant. Okay, so you will, in each of your jury groups, elect, nominate, decide who your foreman or forewoman will be, and then begin your discussion.
And then he goes to the bridge, so.
For what?
There's like.
No, it's good.
No.
You want to do anything?
Do what?
I don't know. Be
The
the foreman.
foreman.
Yeah, screw all of you. I'm not different.
Oh.
I didn't even read. I only read like 2 pages of the book.
I read about 250.
Lily, you want to do it?
You want to do it, Rick?
Not really.
I'll do it.
I vote Lily.
You know what to do.
You just sign the thing. That's all you do.
Yeah.
And fill out the
That's all. Oh,
You have fun, huh?
Are they guilty?
Did you do it?
Yes. Did you?
How so?
You what?
Because they did the
They
crime.
killed
Yeah, they admitted to it.
are we supposed to start?
I thought it was boring. It drags on.
But what specific
forever.
intent did they have in mind when they
Just charge him with murder.
They hated them.
They
wanted
wanted
their
money,
money.
but they couldn't find the safe.
False.
They went in
The
there
safe was
knowing
a
that
false
they'll kill him.
information.
Yeah,
They wanted.
they weren't gonna kill him. Hoping it would end, but then Harry got the wild idea instead.
to be first degree murder?
No,
you need
Dick's
the
the one that
specific
said no
intent.
witnesses.
They did it willfully.
They're both
They're
And
dumb.
that they did
True.
kill them.
They're both dumb.
They did.
We got all of those.
Just charge him with murder one. It's that easy.
Kill them.
Murder the first.
Yeah.
Death penalty.
Kill
Instantly.
him the same way.
Yeah.
Tie her over.
Yeah. For
I say
sure.
torture him for 4 days. Breathe flat out.
Wow.
4 days.
I didn't know
for each
Lily
life.
was
Oh,
like that.
no, 1 day. So 4 days. 1 day of life that they took. So 1 day you could like put them on that
Starvation.
thing that splits them into
Waterboarding.
one.
No.
Electric chair.
No, that's too easy.
Exactly.
It can't be quick.
It can't be quick. It's got to be like
Injection.
injection,
Hard
slow
labor.
injection.
Hard labor till starvation.
Why don't they just get like the chair or something?
That's what I said.
But if you guys do it to them, why are you guys any different?
Don't put the sponge on their head.
Because we didn't kill them in cold blood. They deserved it. They did. They did the
But did
crime.
you know the people? No. Therefore, you're killing them in cold blood because you didn't know what they did. You didn't know the people they killed. You
Yeah,
didn't know
but they
what
admitted
did.
to what they did and they admitted why they did it. And they didn't really have a good reason to do it besides to kill him.
The
If it was
reason-
in self-
And to get money.
If it was in self-defense, it'd be different.
Eyes
But it
roll
wasn't.
But they
water.
did nothing to do with victim.
The Clutters did nothing to them, so it was.
They didn't
do
even.
nothing to everyone every day.
Okay, well, they don't kill their family.
People have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, most
Well,
of them
then they
have been put
deserve
to
to
death.
die. Exactly. If you kill somebody without
Well, I mean, look at these two.
logical reason, and if they aren't trying to kill you first.
I mean, if
Already
they go to
look-
prison, they're gonna get out on parole in like 10 years, and they're gonna go off and kill some other people.
But you
So
don't know that.
Prison didn't fix either
Yeah,
the
like it's
first
You
true.
don't
time.
know that they're gonna do it again. People do learn eventually.
Okay, why would you?
But
let
it's
them
like,
go
but how
in?
many lives
Fix
will it
someone.
take for them to learn their?
Yeah.
Prison,
This is
the-
funny to
like,
me. But people are
usually
getting upset
people
about
who
this.
are in prison, they don't change.
Why don't you give them like
People
at
do
least
change.
50
I know
years?
people from prison. I know
It's
people who
already like
killed other
30 and 40.
people.
aren't
Not
These
everyone.
people are
But
amazing people.
not
I've known
There's
people.
the
everyone-
taxpayer thing in there
I've
that
known people that
I
have
don't
done
wanna pay for
cocaine,
it.
have
You're
been
gonna kill
drug
somebody
dealers, have killed
without
people. I
logical
know
reason.
those people, and
I
they're
don't want
nice
to pay for you
people.
to sit in prison all your life.
Not
Yeah.
everyone comes out of prison changed. Then again,
But they can.
It wasn't
True,
planned.
they
but
can.
it's-
I think
Like,
I think
it's all
Perry
planned
would
out, like,
come
we're
out
gonna do
changed,
Why
this,
would
but
you
we're
not
risk
Dick.
it?
I agree
It
with
was
that
just to
statement.
spur up
Because
the
Perry's
But they
had
were
an
gonna kill
influence to
him
kill them.
from the
Because
beginning.
he even said that it was a thing between him and Dick, that he was relying on Dick to convince him not to kill Clutters,
So Dick influenced it.
basically.
So I think they deserve being there, like, they murdered, robbery, rape, etc.
Kayla, what do you think? What do you think their punishment should be?
I honestly don't think Harry should be put to death because he didn't really do anything. It was Dick who did most of it.
I thought Perry was the one who
No,
killed
Perry's the
her.
one
Perry
that
was
cut
the one who-
Mr. Clutter's throat.
Well, he was influenced by Dick.
He still did it. though.
He
Yeah.
didn't stop.
Cut. He still killed her.
Even though he was mentally.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this, but with that,
He's gonna serve 10 years, no, so killing someone gives you up to 25 a minute.
Yeah,
You're gonna
25
get
to
25
life.
years, and if you get life, then
But
they're
what
never
about
gonna
But
get
that's
out.
an easy
rehab
life.
stuff
You
they
should
do?
have to pay.
No, they do
Forget
hard.
Prison's easy.
Well, it's not, well, jail is
Easy enough for
Feed
them.
them with like
easy enough for them to still get out.
How are they gonna get out?
Put them in isolation
jailbreak.
for the rest of their life.
that would drive them insane.
I'd say I'm leaning between death and life in prison.
I think life in prison, like give them like 60 some years, already like 30, they're gonna die either in prison or they're gonna get out when, like right before they pass away.
I'd rather just.
And if not in prison, then parrying them as
That way I
well
don't
too.
waste my.
But
No,
nobody
I think-
deserves the death penalty, so,
Yeah.
Well, if you kill people.
Yeah.
well, technically it's not even legal in the United States.
An eye for an eye makes the whole world
It's not
blind.
illegal to kill people either, but they still do it.
Yeah.
I'm done arguing about this.
It depends though, like if they
Maddie, do you know people from prison that have done that kind of stuff?
What?
That killed people?
And I've got out?
Yeah,
Yeah, in like 5 years or so.
yeah, and they're nice people.
but it all depends on the
People, not
circumstances.
nice, but.
I know nice people.
New Panda,
Exactly.
well,
Wait, huh?
he didn't kill anybody.
She's
He was
just
close,
yeah.
though. He was pretty damn close.
It depends though. Like killing people sometimes,
We're just discussing.
like killing people sometimes the reasons are different. Like they killed people for no witnesses when they tried to rob. Like I don't know what the people you guys are talking about for the reason they killed. Sometimes killings can be just, sometimes they're unjust, like in their cases.
It's self-defense.
Yeah, if it's self-defense or in the protection of someone else, that I would say it's a just killing.
But it was in the protection of themselves.
Yeah, it's
I've
self-defense.
had family members be killed and killed others because of self-defense. And if they're self-defending themselves, then yeah, go ahead and kill them. But if they're just going out there to kill people, then what's the point?
Their intention wasn't to kill people, in case you didn't get that from the
Well,
book.
they brought a gun, they brought a knife, and Floyd Wills said that Dick was going there to splatter blood on walls.
But
They
Perry
said no
wasn't.
witnesses. Guys, though, he killed the guy in Japan. He killed the guy in Nevada.
No, the Nevada one was a lie.
Well, he still
He
killed the
told
guy
it
in
just so
Japan.
he knew if Dick ratted him out.
Yeah, he still got mad and killed the guy in Japan.
I thought he hadn't killed him. I thought he just threw him over the bridge into the water.
Basically,
So how do you take that
I don't even know how high.
Because he had to serve time in Japan.
yeah, you just.
deal with it in your verdict?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it justifies.
Dito, what's your opinion?
People, even
That-
if you have like a mental disorder, he knew
Seth?
something wrong because he
Well,
didn't agree with.
Back on the whole, he served time in Japan note. It's attempted murder or murder. We don't really know because
Yeah, because we don't
people
know if the
switch.
guy survived or not.
We don't know, so it's either murder or attempted murder, but we don't get that information, so we shouldn't be able to judge Perry on that
He wasn't gonna go.
because the whole information isn't there.
So I kind of understand.
Well,
Okay,
he
so-
still
He
tried
still
to
tried,
do it.
yeah.
He could have like stopped. He could have,
Attempted,
like,
but not complete murder.
Okay, well, he's trying to kill him.
Yes, he is mentally insane,
What do you
but that
think?
doesn't mean that he should be put to death. If we did that, half of our population would be gone in an instant.
Okay, so what do you
But
want?
the other half.
I don't
Life?
believe in the death penalty because killing people,
Okay, so life or death?
Part of it is-
I would say life in prison because the death
Okay.
penalty is just
Alex?
immoral.
So he knew it was
Life in-
wrong.
in incarceration.
That's two for life or death. Nathan?
They just fill up our
Throw it
prisons,
together
and
and
that's
know
why
this
we
life
got
in prison or 50 years
Story
of parole.
is that he had to finish it, but-
Life
So-
in prison.
Life or
People
death?
can change in prison,
They can't.
They can't.
I'd say with a
but you
chance
guys,
of
but no one here is like willing to accept that people can change.
They can, but most
Kill
people don't.
Can change. Actually, most people do.
No, I believe people can
Most
change.
people do. The mentally insane don't
They
really
need a
change
reason
much.
to
but
change. They don't have a reason to change. Their life is crap. They live out
I know,
of
but if you
cars.
like let him back out, why would you risk them killing more people.
And things like that are
Because
the
that's
reason
how
why
the
they don't
population
change, because
settles itself.
Because no one looks at them differently. They all look at them as murderers, so they become
Like
that.
that's how the population like settles itself. Like
If you go to prison,
if
you
there
should say that
were
if you
no
go to prison, you
killings,
should
no
die.
deaths by like other people, animals, whatever. We're gonna have a lot more people in this world than we should. It's kind of like
It'd be overcrowded, overpopulation.
Wow,
Kinda like
that's
animals.
some dark stuff.
lions have to kill.
Deers, we have to kill
Deer
deers to
for-
limit population, otherwise it endangers us.
That's what I'm saying.
So, I mean, like, what are you saying?
What are you trying to get the point to? Because that's just
Basically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
what
I'm
she's
saying-
going about.
they. I can't put it in. I had it good in my head, but then I'll.
Like if you didn't kill people, the population would be overboard.
Hold up, so
Overboard. In
Are
a
you
sense
saying,
is
like,
what she's trying to say.
Self-defense killing or?
No,
What
just
type?
like.
I don't know where she's going with this. I don't even know this.
I get what she's trying to
confused
say.
right now.
Well, no, like any, like if somebody were to kill somebody, if somebody were to kill somebody,
It's like
if
keeping the
somebody were
population.
to just die, that's just how. Well, I have no idea what I
Death
was
is a
just trying to
cycle.
say.
Maddie, what do you want? Life to
Death
death?
is a cycle, and sometimes it ends quicker.
Life with a chance for care.
Okay.
Life with a chance of hope.
What about you, Bailey? So that's
Well, we're done.
6 for life, 1 for death.
How do you resolve this? When you, in
For death.
in real life, you would
Or for
have to
death.
come to a conclusion.
unanimous is 100%, right?
We're split 50-50.
Just
How,
about.
It's
how do you counter the different opinions here?
well. Here's what I'll say. I've had a cousin go to prison before. It wasn't for the right reasons, but he went there. He did change, but he also had some trouble when he got out. It wasn't anything like close to getting life in prison or anything. But I understand the point where people can change in prison. I can see the point where people don't change in prison. And then again, I can see when the death penalty is just and then when the death penalty is unjust. Like Lily said, in self-defense killings, I don't think it's in self-defense killings, I think it is just
Why are you just looking at me? Look
I
at
don't- I
other
don't
people too. Like, you're staring at me.
you're staring back.
Well, no crap. Well, people give me eye contact. I look at you.
Anyway, like, let me restart.
Oh my
If you-
God.
Just
No,
continue.
I'm not
You were
re-
at the point
Yeah, I'm restarting where I left off.
where you said it was just or unjust. and you-
Like, if you kill someone in self-defense, it's fine. But I mean, if you kill someone like they did to rob,
Well,
to
it's not
potentially
fine.
rob and take their belongings away when they did nothing to them, I don't think it's right.
But there's also accidental homicide.
That's manslaughter. That's a different territory.
And this is first degree murder with intent.
Yeah, this is
So
premeditated first-degree murder.
So death.
they intended to do it, so.
Perry said that they're just at the wrong place, the wrong time,
Yeah.
that he was gonna snap into it, so
Yeah.
he was gonna kill
See,
someone.
the reason I'm not too lenient with Perry is because he stopped Dick from molesting Nancy. He could have stopped him. He could have stopped themselves from killing them, but instead he just
But I don't believe that because the only reason I think he stopped the molestation because he was molested
Well, yeah.
and he knows how
Yeah.
it feels, so he knew that he didn't want that to happen.
but he consciously made the decision to make Dick stop. So that means he could have consciously made the decision to
let-
not
But
pull the trigger.
you also remember that he was in a fit when he was downstairs with the murder. And stuff.
Yeah.
He was trying to get Dick to stop by doing it. He was trying to get Dick to tell him to stop while he was cutting his throat.
Yeah,
He was trying to get Dick to stop the murders.
but he still did it.
And then he killed Mr. Clutter by shooting him in the back of the head as mercy because he was suffering.
Yeah,
But he still did it.
but at a time before Dick took the knife to his throat, he could have stopped it. Or my bad, before Perry, he could have stopped himself. Because I'm coming back to this situation upstairs.
Perry could have like left and then Dick wouldn't have like. Why don't we done it do by like Perry himself. for life and Dick for
Death.
death?
Why
Because it seems
Perry?
like Dick's done a lot more than Perry has.
But
The reason I'm
Perry-
a
Dick
Perry tried to stop
is in
most of
fact
it.
a dick.
I don't believe
The only reason
I
I'm a
will
little
agree Dick deserves death. This is the only
Then
person.
why doesn't Perry?
Perry?
Because he did the killing.
Because he did, yeah.
But
He
Dick
did the
didn't.
killing, but Dick is the one who's been twisting his mind and convincing him to do it. He was in a wrong mental state that Dick induced to have him do it.
The only reason I'm a
Well, if he
little,
was in the wrong mental state, how do we know that if he gets back out, if we like put him in life and he gets paroled, if he gets back out, he'll go get back into that mental state and just kill some more people?
But if
Yeah.
the person who did it isn't there, then why would you have a reason to do
Because
it?
there's other people out in
because
the
he's
world
been
like
mentally
Dick.
damaged.
And because it's also a book. So
No, it was real.
we're not
It actually happened.
Yeah, this actually happened.
But here's the thing, like, if you give him, like, if you put him on parole and only, like, 20, 30 years in prison and then go on parole for the next rest of his life or something, I don't know how it really works.
The only chance he'd have
4
it,
minutes, so have you come up with
Yeah.
anything unanimously that you
No.
write in your verdict?
We're still
Kayla,
done.
what do you want? What, for Dick, what do you want?
Does everyone feel here that Dick deserves a death penalty?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, not
Dick getting
Perry.
death penalty.
Dick will
By
be-
what?
I think Perry
Killing
should
that
get life.
I'd just say the chair.
Hair hanging, injection.
Well, Kansas, it was hanging.
Whatever.
So I guess we're going hang. All right.
Yeah.
Perry.
Death.
No, it's not.
Hanging is not a quick easy death.
No,
Life in
it's
prison with no
It's just straight.
quick and easy.
No,
it's
their
strangling.
neck snaps.
At first, your neck will snap, but if you somehow live, which some people do, you just strangle to death. And then you choke on your blood as well.
Well, Dick's been decided for death. Harry, I would say life in prison.
With a chance of parole, that's what I'm
The
saying.
only
Like,
chance of parole would be with psychiatric.
Exactly. Psychiatric leave. That's the only thing I would. Do we agree on that?
So a
Life
minimum
with parole, psychiatric leave, or you can go to a
How
psychiatric
many?
ward.
25 years minimum psychiatric help. And that's the only chance he gets of parole if he
Yeah,
accepts
I think
psychiatric.
the
Do
only
you
time you
find,
can get out of prison. if
wait,
you
I
go to
need to ask
psychiatric.
this. Do you find Perry guilty of murder in the first degree?
Yes.
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 Yes. What are you doing right now? It looks like a little hack. Yeah.
It honestly does look like you got a little visor right here.
Okay, how do you think death sentence for
Dick.
Dick? And how?
Chair.
Hanging.
I think yeah,
Kansas is hanging.
Okay.
It was caught in Kansas.
Chair without
We're
the
a
sponge.
Kansas jury.
Yeah. You've seen that movie, haven't you?
Everyone's seen that movie.
Which
What
one?
movie?
The Green Mile.
I have
Not seen it.
Not seen it.
Not
It's
seen it.
good. It's like a 3-hour movie.
Mr. Peterson made us watch it in his class.
I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, he made us watch parts of it.
When?
And what do you have
Oh,
for?
okay, yeah. I remember that.
He made us watch parts about how like
I saw it before that. though.
yeah, I know, I have too. Like I own the movie, I've watched it a bunch of times. Like that was my grandfather's my grandma's favorite. And then
I
she
can't
watched the
remember
same
what the
part
guy's name was.
The really nice guy.
Yeah.
So what's his name? What are you deciding to prepare?
Life in prison.
Was it Michael?
Psychiatric leave.
Oh, she left. Okay, well then.
Is that what we're doing? Harry has a chance of life in prison with a chance of psychiatric
Raise your hand if
leave.
you agree on that. So we have 1, 2. Maddie, do you agree?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. Darren, do you agree?
Sure.
70 to 30.
Yeah, it's
It would be sort of slim. Maybe 5%, but maybe.
God, is this like a document or something?
Mm-hmm.
You know the weirdest thing I watched yesterday was about like a boys' prison type of thing for like kids that are under 18, but they got like 25 years, so they're serving it like as an adult. Did you know how many kids plead to be homosexual even though they're not, just to get away from everyone else, so they can get their own cell?
Which tells you what about the prison system?
So they're not very good at doing their job.
Ooh.
Like it's like there's a prison that has like over like 15,000 inmates in there, and over like 5,000 of them claim to be
I would
homosexuals.
say I would homosexual again.
I won't.
The girls would still rape you.
I'm asking.
They rape you with broom handles.
That's disgusting.
I think prison's gonna be.
And basically, they die every time because your intestines just explode, I guess.
They explode, yeah, that just happens.
They do! I've heard like tons of cases about that. Mom watches a stupid forensic file and stuff.
Is everyone signing both sides?
Yeah, just sign it and go.
I haven't written series yet.
Just sign any of them.
If you flip it
It's
over, you
easier
get
than passing it around
dick,
again.
and then the other.
Because what's going to be written?
We all know.
Death penalty. I mean, life imprisonment.
I don't think nobody signed it.
Oh.
Gotta go back out on way now.
Why?
That's just me.
We
But
didn't.
some people didn't sign the other side. Did you sign the other side?
Which one?
The one that you haven't signed yet.
This is for
Where's
sure.
your? Where's your?
Did you sign that side, Ricky? And you sign that side.
No.
I need all this.
What is it?
Ooh.
This is for,
This way.
no, you guys are.
They made it over there. Very active. Pass those papers down.
Circle what you believe you accomplished in your Socratic jury deliberation.
All of it.
session. What skills did you use?
All of them.
You need to sign. Circle all the skills that you used.
I'm just gonna do.
I would always check all but.
This is supervision. This is supervision.
I know, right? My sister works there. My
Oh.
sister really gets me stuff. And
Which one?
my Victoria,
No, which?
the one on the bottom of it.
Wait, what did we think of Harry? So I can write it down.
She usually works
Harry.
from close,
My
from like
age chancellor psychiatric.
I'm usually there before. I was there before.
Psychiatric.
Maybe 3 or 4 or something this weekend.
And did all jury members agree to that? Change their actual mind because of actual evidence?
No. 70-30.
Cannot be signed then.
Just say yes.
Just, yeah.
Oh, but those are against the rules. That is not how you as a responsible citizen.
Well, we are not real
Yeah.
jurors.
But we're practicing real life here.
I don't know.
Would you? How do you rectify that situation?
I've been in a jury stand, it's really awkward.
But the judge can always overrule you, so.
You mean you've sat in the chairs?
No, I've been in one.
Okay,
I had
Madam
to be 18.
Juror,
No, because I saw the crime happen.
four
You
women
mean
and
no,
four women.
Yeah, but they made me sit up there.
Have you reached a verdict?
Everyone sits and goes like,
Can you read your verdict, please?
That church white. Yeah, it's white. It's black.
no, like, they actually talked about it like this, but did he just slip up when he said this and all that stuff? Like, as soon as we got told this and he said
I
this.
feel like the Danny case.
You have to circle.
Did you know something spin? I actually got yelled at for those spinning in the chair.
Nice.
I've been in
I
one
started
like
at
7 times. And one time I was like, I don't know where this was going on. I was sitting on like a spinning chair. Like, the session was going on and I was spinning in the chair.
I'm gonna start with the jury on the left here. Madam Forewoman, have you come to a conclusion and reached a verdict?
Yes.
Okay, read your verdict, please.
We, the jury, find Richard Eugene Hickok guilty of murder in the first degree on 4 counts and fix a sentence for this crime as follows. Death sentence for Dick by hanging.
Death sentence by hanging. Have you reached a verdict on Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Please read.
We, the jury, find Perry Edward Smith guilty of murder in the first degree on 4 counts and fix the sentence for this crime as follows. Life in prison with chance of mental institute.
With a chance of what?
Mental institute.
Mental
Institution.
institution. Okay. Thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome.
All right, and did your verdict on Mr. Smith, was that reached by true unanimous vote? Or are some of you
Yeah.
To a point, I guess.
to a point? Because I was hearing that you had not reached unanimous.
Well, no, what we're
decision.
supposed
I
to
called that chair
do.
today.
So, what would you do? And
I will.
in years past, juries did not reach a conclusion. They did not come to a definite verdict that they were unanimous about. And obviously, what happens in that case? I mean, we have a next period that you need to go to, so we have to end it. And because, like Maggie said, this is a book, even though it's real. So, in real life, what would you do?
I'm like,
It'd be
or
extended.
no.
You would just keep
You'd have
deliberating,
recess.
keep
That's
deliberating,
understandable.
keep deliberating. And at some point, it can become a
Is
hung jury.
that why it took 3 years?
No, that's because of different appeals that they make. Yep. Okay, Madam Forewoman, have you reached a verdict?
Yes. We, the jury, find Richard Eugene Hickok guilty of murder in the first degree on 4 counts and fix the sentence for this crime as follows. We find him guilty of murder. He plans not to pull the trigger, but he arranged the entire ordeal and in a sense manipulated Perry. And had incurred deserves death penalty.
Okay. Have you reached a verdict on Mr. Smith?
Yes. We, the jury, find Perry Edward Smith guilty of murder in the first degree on 4 counts and fix the sentence for this crime as follows. We find Perry guilty of murdering the Clutter family, although we find him guilty of being his abusive child or abusive upbringing. He developed a mental disease and couldn't decipher reality from imagination. We believe Perry deserves life in prison without any chances of parole.
And was that reached by true unanimous decision? Okay. So, what are your takeaways from this experience in communicating in the criminal justice system? What are your takeaways?
That society is screwed up in a way.
That society is screwed up?
I knew that for a long time.
What other takeaways? What about the jury deliberation specifically? What did you have to deal with in communicating respectfully, coming to a conclusion, hearing other people's opinions, reflecting on your own opinions? What did you have to do there?
Hearing other people's opinions,
And what about that?
that they're different than yours.
And how did you deal with them?
I just didn't.
You what?
I just dealt with them.
Okay, how?
Listen.
Just ignored it.
Their opinions are gonna change mine, so.
Okay,
Some people are too stubborn to change their opinion.
okay,
AKA me.
okay, so what else did you have for takeaways? Skills that you used, skills that you had to really challenge yourself to use today.
The ability to compromise.
The ability to compromise, good. And Ricky, you did a very nice job of trying to help everyone objectively see where you were so that people could actually decide to compromise on certain things, laying out there the different perspectives. That was a very nice job.
Nice.
What good, solid, Socratic discussion skills, communicating skills did you see over here? Everyone's fine, good. Because that is so important. Obviously, in a jury, everyone's opinion should be heard, but everyone should be heard in all conversations. Good. What else?
So we challenged each other's ideas.
Okay. Wonderful.
New questions.
Okay. Good. Tim?
I'm having 4 minutes.
What was it?
No, I'm just finishing it.
Very good. Okay, thank you guys for doing that, for sharing your opinions, defending your opinions, hearing other people's opinions. What I would like you to do for the last 4 minutes of class is to make sure that you have posted your ideas to our independent learning project idea board.
No one knows what to do.
Yeah, it was really confusing.
You were supposed to read.
We did. We did.
What do you feel like learning about? What do you feel is valuable to learn?
Just anything in the world.
That's right.
I want to learn about Australia.
I'm done with that and read books. I know how to.
We never learn about Australia.
Yeah, because it's in the boonies of the world.